Okay, so now we're going to do 2016 ordinary level tabular statement. Okay, so first thing we need to do is set up our question. So you can see I have it done here. So it'd be a good idea if you were to pause the video, do that yourself, and then check it against what I've done here. So again, your dates. So you always start up here with your assets. Then your dates, you always put in the first of the month, the January. And then you go over to your question and you put down January the 3rd, January the 7th, 12, 16, 19, 21, 23rd, 26, and then you have a total column at the end. Okay, then we put in our assets, which we get directly from the balance sheet. So we have buildings, 450,000, machinery, 82,000. So you can see them there. Then the rest of our assets, so our current assets, stock, debtors, and bank. So you get those three figures and put them in. And then you add up to get your total of 622,500. Next is our liabilities. So we go over to our balance sheet and we've got our creditors amount falling due within 1 year and then long term. Okay, so we put in the capital first. Then our profit and loss, so 590,000 and 5,000, they go there. We always put in drawings, but we leave it blank because we don't have a drawings figure in the balance sheet. Creditors then and rent due, 24,000 and 3,500, and we pop them in. Okay, so that's your question set up and ready to go. Ready to show what these transactions and what effect they cause on the balance sheet. Okay, so we go to our first one. January the 3rd, received from a debtor a cheque for 3,700 and full settlement of a debt of 3,900. Okay, so that means straight away we know we can reduce our debtors by 3,900. They no longer owe us that. Our bank is going to be increased by 3,700, but we've made a loss because they paid us 3,700. It's actually 3,200. So on our profit and loss, we'll have a negative 200. Okay, so we'll go up here to the top. So January the 3rd, and we'll go to our debtors, and that's now been reduced by 3,900 because we agreed that they gave us 3,700. That would be it. So we gave them a discount of 200. Our bank then is increased by 3,700, and then we're done with our assets part. So if you add these together, you'll get a negative 200. And then our profit and loss, we made a loss of 200, so we put it in brackets. And then down our total, a loss of 200. Oh, I forgot to put my total in here as well, which is 622,500. Okay, so that's where we are now. Next one, which is January the 7th, purchase goods on credit for 14,200. Okay, so if we look at our tabular assets there, our stock is going to be increased by that amount. So our stock is going to be 14,200. And then our creditors down here is going to be 14,200. So our stock is increased when we buy something, but what we owe our debtors, we bought on credit, what we owe our creditors, increases as well. So that'll give me a total here of 14,200 and a total down here of 14,200. So we know we're on the right track when they're balancing, when they're the same. Okay, January the 12th then, paid by cheque rent that was due at the beginning of the month. Okay, so if we go to our rent 3,500, okay, so if you paid that, so that's going to be a negative 3,500. So that'll be negative 3,500. If we paid that, and that means that our bank, so we paid money coming out of our bank, the 3,500, so it's negative, it's reduced in our bank, and that'll give us a total of 3,500 in our totals column. Okay. Right, next then is June 16th. Paid by cheque a creditor account balance of 4,100 and received a discount of 300. So straight away we know, okay, we've made a profit. or we're given a discount, so we put it as a profit in the profit and loss account. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is our bank is going to be, so if it says that 4,100, we got a discount of 300, so then that means that we only paid 3,800. So going out of our bank then is 3,800. That gives me a total there of negative 3,800. And we made a profit there of 300. It gives a discount of 300. So that's positive there in our profit and loss. And then our creditors was reduced by the full amount. We no longer owe them the 1,400. And then that will give me a total of 3,800 when I add them up together. Okay. Now we're on to January the 19th. Sold goods on credit for 8,200, which originally cost 9,200. So we've made a loss. Okay, so we made a loss of 1,000, and that's going to go into our profit and loss. So our profit and loss, and it's negative 1,000. Our stock is going to be reduced by the full amount, which is 9,200. And our debtors, they now owe us 8,200, because that's what we sold on credit for. So if we add negative 9,200 and 8,200 together, we'll get a negative 1,000. And my total down here as well is negative 1,000. Okay. Right, next thing then is January 21st. A debtor who owed 600 was declared bankrupt and paid 30 cents in the euro. Okay, so getting our calculator. So that means that for every euro they owe you, they can only pay 30 cents. So 600 multiplied by 0.3, so 180 euro is what you're going to receive there. So you're getting 180 into your bank account, so we put 180 into the bank. Your debtors is reduced by the full amount, 600, because you have to write the rest off as a bad debt. So that means that you've made a loss then of 420. Okay, so negative 600 plus 180 gives you a negative 420, and then down here our total is negative 420. Right. The next thing then, January the 23rd, paid by cheque from business bank account 3,300 for roof repairs to private house. So straight away when we see private there, if it's for their own personal use, it's our drawings. So our bank is going to be reduced by 3,300, and our drawings is going to be 3,300, and it's negative because it's going out of the business. So our total here is 3,300, and our total here is 3,300. Okay, last transaction before we do our totals. January the 25th, purchased a new warehouse for 170,000. A deposit of 15,000 was paid by cheque, and the remainder was borrowed from Warehouse Finance Ltd. So you see here, you always leave a line or two before your total in case something like this, and there'll always be something that'll crop up. So that was Warehouse Finance Ltd. So I'll write that in here. Warehouse Finance Ltd. Okay. So we're starting up here. Our buildings have increased by 170,000. Our bank, we pay the 15,000 deposit, so that's reducing our bank balance by 15,000. So if we add these two together, 170,000 minus 15,000 will leave you with 155,000. Okay, and then you got the rest of the money. You paid 15,000 of the 170,000. So when you got the rest borrowed from warehouse, so that means that you borrowed 155,000. So that'll give you a total of 155,000. Okay, so now we have to add up all of our totals, okay? Okay, so I put all in the totals there, so you can pause the video and do them yourself and then check them. So I put them all in there, and again, we know we're correct when we've got our two balances the same in our assets and our liabilities. You can see here I've got dotted lines because there's nothing there because you paid the rent that you'd owed. You owed 3,500 start of the month. You paid it off, so there's nothing left in this column. Okay, so that's that question done. So again, it'd be a good idea then if you stopped the video, went into the question again yourself, and then checking it against the answer that you've taken down. Okay,